This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Hello and welcome to episode 49 of Too Old to Game. I'm your fear-filled host, Dave Oster. Today I'm joined by the original man-child himself, Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
Can't dub those E's today. Mark's too old to game, literally, to show up today. So we are going to stride on without him, but we have a great episode for you guys. Today is day 2 of TeamFight Tactics being live for League of Legends. It's absolutely got all of my attention right now, so I'm going to gush about that a little bit. Then we're going to dip over to the world of Blizzard and a little bit of PR nightmares, a little bit of behind the curtains of being a developer at Blizzard. Maybe similar stories to what we heard about Anthem.
Old days. Being a developer there in the past is what the news came out, but apparently it hasn't changed much, but it's better.
So we will have a fun-filled episode for you guys. If you guys want to support us, you know where the Patreon's at. Check it out at patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcasts. If you do join us at that $1 tier, you can get in on our Discord. We've got, I think, about 9 or 10 people in there right now. It is a ton of fun, and it's just, honestly, right now, it's filled with, like, off the wall. It's like WWE, NBA, NFL, MLB. It's across the board. We're kind of hitting it all.
The last thing that was said was by John. I'm going to start doing this. Just the last thing that was said. I want Shamit back and Gallinari. So
if you want to know what that's all about,
you can take that conversation and be like, ooh, I want to be in that one. That's what John said. He wants Shamit.
Crush my thumb.
He wants Shamit back and Gallinari. I'm only assuming he's talking about the Sixers.
There's Jimmy Butler, the rumor about the sign and trade to the Clippers, or maybe just going to the Clippers.
Yeah.
So we will see.
Play with Kawhi, maybe.
Bold things going on, but that's not this show. This show is all about gaming, and Ricky, I said it earlier, but TeamFight Tactics really has all of my attention these days.
Time to be a gusher, Dave. Go ahead and do it.
So this game is basically their clone of Auto Chess, which Dota 2 is the owner of. It was spun up by a mod for Dota 2 initially, and then that same group created their own mobile game version of it in a similar, basically the same genre, but they created a mobile game. But then League of Legends was like, oh, so Dota's doing that thing. We can do that, but we can make it better because, let's be honest, we've got a lot of concurrent subs. Let's use those numbers. Let's give them a new shiny for the month and see how they receive it. And overwhelmingly positive. This was released early on PBE, and at that time I was watching. I mean, there was about 6 streams, all with over 10 to 20,000 people watching them. This is a PBE game at that point on the beta, basically. And then when it went live, they didn't want to release the time it would go live because they were trying not to stress out the servers. That went horribly wrong.
Or did they want to do, they're like, it worked well for Apex Legends to just come out randomly.
Yeah.
Why don't we try the same thing?
No, it did not. So they had like hour-long, 90-minute-long queue times to play this game mode, the opening night, which is insane. But it all worked itself out by today. It is basically a game where they're taking a lot of the heroes from League of Legends, and what happens is, I'm going to lay this out. This is going to get a little bit lengthy, but
lay it out, Dave.
Here's what it is. So they start the game off with this kind of a fun thing. It's called a carousel, and what it is random heroes show up, and they have an item attached to them, and they're all walking in a circle clockwise, or counterclockwise. I always forget. And basically, the opening grab is just like a mad scramble to get your guy. Hopefully, he's got an item that works. Sometimes you go for best item on the board, and you don't even care who it is. Sometimes you're going for a specific hero. So it kind of adds some intrigue. It kind of reminds me of the XFL, the opening dash to get the football. On the,
where it's like, okay, here's your kickoff.
Exactly. And instead, it's just 2 men sprinting to the middle of the field trying to get that football for a scramble. Except for the fact that I think, 3 out of the 4 had ACLs blow out during that in the first week.
So this is basically when they're, because I'm looking at a picture of it.
Yep.
Is it clicking? Like, you got to be the one to click on the hero.
So you got to run through it. You got to run through the hero, basically. And that is the opener. So you start off nice and fun. You see everybody. You see what everybody grabs. Then you get dropped into your own personal map. Which they have skins for and all that because you got to make money.
Yeah.
And they set you off with a couple easy rounds of player versus environment. So a couple of mobs, whether it's wolves, little soldiers, a combination. And those mobs have a chance to drop more items for you. Those items then can combine to make even better items. You get where that's going. So you get like 3 rounds of that.
And this for someone like myself who have not played, I didn't play Dota 2 Auto Chess.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch it. You're just placing them on the field.
You place them on the field and they go.
Okay.
You don't have to control them, but there is a strategy to the alignment of them.
Yeah.
Not so much early, but once you start going against players, absolutely. So the first round goes through, you kill off 2 little mobs, and then at the bottom of your screen, you get this nice lineup, and it's like, ping, here's a bar of heroes you can buy. They all have different prices associated, and you have a gold store, which basically your own bank. And it's like, okay, well, I have to be careful about what I buy, because you have 2 options. You can either buy a hero, or you can buy experience. And if you choose to buy a hero, that's awesome. They get added to your like little deck of usable heroes, and you can only have as many heroes out as you have levels. So you get experience every time you complete a round, but you could also just buy experience to speed that up. There are some interesting tactics when it comes to pooling your money to get additional money down the road. But to start off, don't even worry about it. On top of that, say I buy a hero, and I'm like, oh, this guy's awesome. And I see 2 more of them show up in my bottom bar as purchasable, and I buy both of those guys. They all combine, and now he's a tier 2 hero.
Okay.
So it's you're trying to build up your guys from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3, but at the same time, everybody has 2 types, or at least 2 types, I should say. Some are, a noble and a sharpshooter or a gunslinger. And they've got all these like groupings, and those groupings give bonuses. So it kind of builds up your like, I have synergy if I use this special group together.
Yeah, it's kind of like, because I'm watching right now it just on Twitch a random stream so I can see the board and stuff.
Yeah.
And even in like character layout, is it something like, for example, he's got the ranger in the back because of course you don't want him in the front.
They're a little flimsier, but they have that range damage.
Kind of like how I think of a Game Boy game that we used to play called Advance Wars, where the infantry would be first, then you'd have the tanks behind them.
Big beefy. No, other way around. Tanks. Oh, tanks. Yeah,
the tank.
Yeah.
Sorry. They were firing
League of Legends. I'm thinking tanks. I'm thinking the big beefy guys.
Yeah, no, but it's like you had your tanks with the infantry in front. This is kind of the same, where I want that warrior, that tank in front,
soak
who
some
can
damage,
take some hits.
while the back line does the damage. So yeah, I mean there's a whole lot of strategy in it. There's a whole lot of randomness in it, and on top of that, so you've got the cycling of heroes that you can choose from. You've got the ability to buy levels or save up and pool money to get additional money back, and then you have your health bar. And you lose health based on how badly you lose the battle. There's 8 players in every game of this. And the cool thing is you're going up against them. You get portaled back and forth between their board and your board.
Yeah.
And you fight. And it's however you line them up can change the world for you. I mean, like, there's a lot of people who have, like, AoE ultis or specific angular ones. Some work really well when they're spread out.
Like this guy, it looks like he's got 2 heroes that have, like, a purple bubble around them for like protection. But the thing I'm seeing, and I'm just going to ask this question when I have it, the guy I'm watching has this character that right now he has. Who you watching?
I can jump over because I'm watching Toast right now.
I'm watching fucking what's his name? I don't even know. Rankin. Or Rakin, Rakin is what I'm watching right now. Just literally the first one I clicked on. And he's got this blue guy in the corner that when he clicks, the guy moves to that. Rakin is what I'm watching.
Okay. That's his Twitch name, or
that's the Twitch name.
Okay.
He's literally got a blue guy that when he clicks around, the blue guy will follow wherever he clicked. And I was like, is that like a character that he can use in the game? Is that something that you don't want that guy to take damage? Like he's got a purple bar instead of the health bars like everyone else.
So the purple bubble around him, that's the character Caston, I'm guessing. I'm loading the stream. Of course, you had to choose someone who is from Brazil.
Sorry.
I just great call.
I just clicked one.
Yep, that's fine. But yeah, no, that's his ability because every hero has abilities. And on top of their abilities, they also have a mana bar underneath them. And when that mana bar hits off, that's when they cast their ability usually.
Yeah, this guy's just like a random blue guy with a blue sword.
Yep, that's casted in.
Okay.
So he hits people with his big old sword. I'm catching up. There we go. And when he hits people with his sword, he steals their mana, magic damage basically, and gets a bubble for himself
to
protect himself. So He's really good at stopping them from casting their spells and also being a little tankier than an average caster would be.
I was just confused. I'm like, oh, he's moving him around himself.
Yep.
But he was keeping him in a corner, so I didn't know if it was like one of those like in chess.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to keep this king safe.
No, he's one of those guys who's super versatile. Okay. You know? And that's the thing is, there's so many different combos with these guys. When you're looking at, I've seen and played multiple assassins, and basically the assassins start off and they instantly jump to the back line of the opponent's team, which kind of can create some havoc. You can,
kind of like where they feel almost surrounded in a sense.
Oh, yeah, and you can get some lucky crits and completely knock them out. But if the other team positions correctly, your team can get, like, gibbed right off the bat. Yeah. And it's like, well, that did not play out how I wanted it to.
Because you're kind of also trying to guess, okay, how are they going to lay out their heroes
and you can see that, but you don't necessarily know exactly where you're going to land at. Once you get late in the game, you can tell who's you're going to end up at, so you can kind of plan ahead a little bit. But the other intriguing thing about this is that slide deck of characters at the bottom is a shared pool of characters going through everybody's. So if somebody builds up and they've got a bunch of this one, you're not likely to be able to get that character for yourself, know? If you do see them, it'll be like one of a few instead of one of many that would slide through, so you can't level them up because they've already basically taken the entire pool of them.
So it kind of creates a battle resource of like, hey, if I really want this, I have to level it up so I can have it for myself.
I have to buy them all when I see them, because if I wait, then somebody else could pick them up and I won't have the ability.
Exactly.
Yep. And then it gets even crazier.
How so, Dave?
Because late in the game, you've got early game strategies and late game strategies. So early game, there's a lot of these level 1, level 2 heroes.
The game and then end game is usually what I think of it as.
So there's all these early game heroes who are accessible for 1 or 2 points, even up to 3. But then there's some really, really impactful ones for 4 and 5. And even at 3, there's a couple of really impactful ones. But yeah, the 4 and 5 ones, they have different color around them. Usually it's like gold or purple, kind of designated. It's like epic for a better term. Yeah. And it's hugely impactful. And then you go back to the carousel every couple of rounds, throw some more RNG. And that's what makes this game fun, is the fact that it's got replayability, because every game is going to be different. You can go in and say, I'm going to try to build the same exact group of people every time, but you might not get lucky. You might get different ones that come up in when you get your heroes at the bottom of the screen. You might have a different shuffle at the carousel. The items really matter a lot, and the cool thing is they've been paying super close attention to this game. It's gotten balancing patches every single day for the last week. And so they're like, you think there's a meta, and then there's not. And you think there's a new meta, and then you're like, nope, I've got it all figured out. No, I don't. And it's so cool how much is being they're so carefully balanced about this. They don't want it to be like, build this thing and win every game. They're really focusing on, like, we want everything to be viable, we want everything to be playable, and we want every experience to be different.
So when let's say I come in and play, and it's like I play a couple rounds and it's like, okay, I got to get off. When I get back in, do I keep the same team, or is it like you start back at the carousel, kind of like how...
So every new game, you start at the carousel. You play through, and when you run out of life, you're stuck with your group of 8 guys. It's you and those 7 other guys, and you will play till only one man has health left. Okay. And you'll keep matching with each other, keep warping through the tunnels.
So really, you're going to play until you're getting in knowing I'm going to play
these 8 guys
until these 8 guys. And then when that's done, then you can enter into a new game. Pool. Okay.
Correct.
Because it's kind of like how what I'm relating it to is kind of a sense of the same thing without the pool is Battle Royale in MLB The Show right now, where you come in, they give you random, like, here's 4 cards, pick one. 4 cards, pick one. And it's a draft to get your team. Yep. And then you use that team that you've drafted to go up against other guys, where this is kind of your drafting in a sense with this carousel. Yeah. The only thing that's different is you're powering up, you're using in-game gold to buy these different, like you said. Can you buy the items or just the characters?
No, you can only buy the characters.
Okay, and then the items are attached to them.
The items are from the NPCs, from the non-player controlled mobs that you have a couple rounds for, as well as they're available on the carousel. Yes, they drop as loot off the NPCs. So you have 2 options to get actual items from, and the RNG there can really fuck you or really set you ahead. And like I said, a lot of it just leads to a lot of strategy. It's like a deck building game, but on your computer. It's so cool.
I'm more intrigued to play it now after like hearing you go through the long explanation and kind of watch a little bit of it, because the thing that for me when I'm in some of these games is if I actually had to control the guys, I would be like, nope, not going to do that. I'm just not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm just not good enough.
You're not StarCraft micromanaging, clicking a billion times a second.
Like actual, like, okay, I got to, like, kind of like WoW, where, like, these abilities, WoW PvP, it was all
it's a lot
luck.
of pressure.
It was all luck for me, where there were some characters where I'm like, okay, I know how to use them, but most of them, it's like, if their skill level was up here, I wasn't going to fucking touch them. But with this, because it's strategy, and I can just, strategically place these guys and then let them do their thing.
Exactly.
Seems
and it's
like
all
more
about,
my
like,
style.
you see how on the left-hand side, he's got Noble 3 of 6, Knight 2 of 6, Ranger 2 of 4. So there's specific bonuses you get for having enough of those guys out on the floor at the same time. And combining some of the right ones together really sets you ahead. So, like, you have to be smart about what you're picking, but you also, later in the game, you're like, okay, these early game units, they're not doing it for me as much. I need to go get some of the heavy hitters. So I need to dig into my gold pocket, my pouch, start spending. Can't be Scrooge McDuck all game. And you got to be very careful about which characters you're going for. It's so cool. And for the items, there's already a full guide out there of you take this item plus this item makes this thing. Yeah. Like, that's super straightforward. And also in game, if you drag an item over another item, it will tell you, if they combine them, what it does. So I think they've made it like a very easy learning curve to start out with. Yeah. And honestly, the people I'm playing, like the people I've seen, the people I've played with, everybody's super positive about it right now. The funniest thing, like the thing that caught me off guard when I first saw this game, was they were betting thousands of dollars.
That's what you had mentioned.
On subs. It was a group of people, Wreckful, Disguised Toast, Pokey, and I think like 5 other people. And they were betting like thousands of dollars worth of subs back and forth playing this. And it wasn't even, available to the public yet. But it had so much draw that they're like, man, we got some major attention. Let's capitalize on this.
And that's the thing that pops into my head, which I know you and I, before we started recording, I mentioned it and you were like, ooh, that's a good lead into the next one. But before we actually lead it in to continue here, what's a property? Because you said that you never played, or you watched Auto Chess. Yeah. Never played it because you never played Dota 2.
Correct.
Because
I played Dota, I played Heroes of Newerth, I played League of Legends.
I believe from a video I pulled up,
Smite.
The Auto Chess was a mod in Dota 2. Like, it wasn't even its own game.
Correct. But it's basically like a standardized mod,
What's one property? Like, for me, I just think Blizzard. Like, this could be a game that Blizzard goes, we have an abundance of characters. Whether we want to do it Heroes of the Storm style, or if they say, hey, fuck it, we're going to do a World of Warcraft version where it's just the WoW characters. Don't make Overwatch 2 this, though. Please don't. Give me an actual Overwatch 2.
They'll give you a legit Overwatch 2.
If they Diablo'd it and was like, here's Overwatch 2, I'd be like, what?
No. Don't. They're being careful with Overwatch 2 because that's their money maker right now.
You guys have computers, right?
You guys have computers, right?
They moved up from phones to computers.
I hate Blizzard so much, but I love them. Yes, so I mean, like, League of Legends isn't original here. They didn't invent the wheel, but the game itself was, League of Legends was a copy off of Dota. It was during that MOBA spree of 2009, 2010, when everybody and their uncle was putting out a MOBA. Blizzard did try to put one out there. They had some interesting ideas for it, and I liked their game.
Didn't they can it? Can't you not play it anymore?
You can still play it. It's no longer having like future development put towards it. It was a fun game, but at the same time, like, they were trying to do a lot of different things to make every game dynamic, which made tournamentizing and really going for like a straight up like end game of these are the upper 1% players, and like they had their tier structure, don't get me wrong, but putting into tournaments, making it a esport was much more difficult to gain people, because League of Legends was, you're on the same map every time, you've got the same layout, the same this, the same that, and players can master that. Where Here's the Storm was very
so much change.
Every map had its own strategies. Every comp had its own tweaks. It was just too much change, too much going on at the same time that really pulled people's attention. So could Blizzard do a game like Auto Chess, like Teamfight Tactics? Absolutely. They've got incredible intellectual properties. Their IPs are like, come on. They've got books. They've got 30 years worth of games. Yeah. It's just so much storytelling, so many lovable characters. In a heartbeat, they could do this. Will they? I think so. I think that if this game hits as hard as it's hitting right now, like, I know this is day 2 of it being a public game, but having over 100,000 people on Twitch watching the game, an insane amount of people actually playing the game, yeah, I think that might be the strategy for them as hey, here's a quick turnaround to make some money. This doesn't take a ton of time and development because you already know the format. You know what you have to have for the board spacing. You know what you have to have for the layout. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're just slapping a new coat of paint on top, putting your properties in there, and giving it your little spin for the items, and there you go. So, honestly, should they? Yes. Will it be successful? Probably partially. It's going to make them money. It's not going to be, amazing, but you don't have to throw multiple dev teams at it to get things done, It's something that you can get by with enough work, and, it's Blizzard, so they've got the people.
Yeah, and right now I'm finally being able to see how the carousel scene works.
Yeah, because it happens a couple times throughout the game, and the longer it goes on.
I'll be honest, I'm intrigued. I think because of you, Dave, I'm actually going to try this out.
You can also have your character that you're controlling as a dabbing penguin, because I know you want that, right?
I do like to dab.
They make little noise when they do it. So
little penguin noises when they do it.
Yep.
For me, there's Blizzard was the one I was thinking of. I don't know if there's anyone else that I can think of that immediately I think of, they have the properties to where they could do it.
You had the MOBA scene. Then you had Call of Duty's really take over, or the team fighting gun games, I guess. And then you had survival games. You had zombie games. Then you have battle royales.
Is this the end of the battle royale? And we're going into the auto chess era?
No, I think they're definitely different groups of players, different player bases.
Is Teamfight Tactics the Fortnite killer?
No. Different player bases, different groupings. I don't think there's a better or worse answer, but it's just it's a fun game and it is addictive, to say the least. So
it's very intriguing for me. I can't wait to actually dive in and play it, but it just depends on when I'm going to dive in because I did not expect. I bought MLB The Show. Thank you, Jake, one of our patrons, for basically 5 in the morning. I'm like, hey guys, days of play. Should I go ahead and buy MLB The Show? And it wasn't Jake alone. Pat also told me that I should.
Yeah.
Dave's like, wake up at 5 in the morning to go to work afterwards and see that Ricky bought MLB The Show.
Our Discord, you guys don't have anything to do, I take it, because during the summer,
it's not just that.
All I see is the early morning convos.
It's not just Jake and I having nothing to do. Retro and Sung Hyung, I hope I said his name right.
They're in Australia.
Those two, they're in Australia. So it's normal time for them.
Right.
When 5 in the morning.
That's
so,
fair.
I mean, I feel like I have to oblige and talk to our patrons from across the pond. I mean, across the pond is usually for England, but across the western pond to Australia. Because usually people say across the pond when they're talking about England.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, it's a good time. Patreon.com/MostValuedPodcast. You should check it out.
But that game's been soaking up all your time.
It has.
Why? What is the
Diamond
intrigue?
Dynasty? For me, the show I was usually, since the beginning of time, I play franchise, I have a franchise, and then I dabble a little bit in Road to the Show. I have my own creative pitcher. I pitch. I like to do that. I don't like to hit. And Jake's like, play Diamond Dynasty. And I was like, fine, if I'm going to play Diamond Dynasty, the digital download for Days of Play was marked down from 100 to 65, which Jake the next day was like, I don't want to tell you this, but
it dropped even more.
Which I was like, you know what? I'm not one of those guys. What I got for it and why I went with it is I think I still have the picture in my phone that I sent to Jake because I was deciding between the two. But I got like extra stubs. I got so many packs to start off with. Oh, here it was. So with the digital, I got the game, 30 packs, 15,000 stubs, a Ball in His Habit pack, Prestige Gear Up choice. I chose one of 30 Diamond flashbacks, and then avatars and one Classic Stadium, which my Classic Stadium, Dave, you'd be proud of.
Old Comiskey?
Not Old Comiskey. That's not one of them. I chose Old Atlanta.
Oh,
that Old
shit.
Atlanta Stadium.
Nice.
If I would have had Old Shea, it would have been a decision between them. But I saw Atlanta. I was like, I like those Braves from our 90s that were good the entire decade.
Chippa Jones.
But yeah, it's just Diamond Dynasty, actually like having a team, like collecting those cards, gearing up that, like I say gearing up that team, really.
It's an RPG.
It's kind of like right now I've got Gleyber Torres at second, who's a gold card. And I'm thinking, like, I'm trying to find out how to get that next diamond to make him my second baseman. And then, okay, I'm all at diamond. How do I get to the 99s and what do I need to do that? So it's taking up my time right now. Sorry, World of Warcraft, because I was chilling with now 3 level 60 characters.
It's a sweet summer break, man. Classic WoW is just around the corner.
And that's the thing, Classic WoW, Borderlands 3, the fall is going, like, dude. Good thing baseball season ends in October because games are coming out this fall that I'm going to be playing with Dave.
Yeah. I don't care about baseball season, so whatevs. But yeah, no, it sounds fun. I don't love baseball enough. So
well, and I was always a show person, and this was the first year where I'm like, I'm not gonna get the show. Like, I've got enough thing. I'm playing WoW. But yeah, you can blame Jake. I look at my phone because that's where Jake texts me. But I mean, I'm looking at my phone like, thanks, Jake, for getting me enticed into this MLB The Show era.
Absolutely.
Jake was making sure I wasn't going to take a year off.
Yeah. I mean, you can't do that. Can't take a year off. But no, I think that game's fine and dandy. But let's reel it back into a little bit of drama, I guess. Back to Blizzard again.
Dave likes drama.
I do. It's entertainment. People love drama naturally. I'm sorry.
I mean, you named one of your WoW characters Drama Llama.
I had one initially called Drama, and Drama wasn't available on the server, so Drama Llama. Clearly was
that your
answer.
Monk or your druid? Was Drama Llama?
I think it was. I don't remember anymore. I don't know. It was a monk.
Yeah.
It was a monk. So yeah. But no, so Blizzard made the news again. Ricky, why don't you read us in on that?
Yeah, so there's an article on Polygon that was posted yesterday around 10 a.m. our time here, Central Time. And it said, Blizzard was built on crunch, co-founder says, but it's not sustainable. And when you go into it, the article reads, in a panel at the Game Lab conference in Barcelona this week, Mike Morhaime, who left Blizzard in October after 27 years there, told Eurogamer, I'm sure there are better ways of doing this, but for us, I don't think we would have been as successful if we hadn't put in everything we had. Crunch is a shorthand for long stretches where salaried developers work well more than 40-hour weeks, has taken a mainstream importance lately as designers and programmers share their experiences with large-scale blockbuster games. Their tales are often filled with burnout, managerial dysfunction, and product failure. I fast forward, I'm going to go down. And just yesterday, a report from Kotaku, so this would have been from Tuesday, detailed poor working conditions at Treyarch during the development of COD Black Ops 4. The issue has been a central, yada, 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 that's okay. Eurogamer noted in a statement in May that John Haidt, an executive producer for World of Warcraft, saying as teams aspire to be a no-crunch team, while not yet at that goal, conditions are better than where they were 5 to 10 years ago.
Which I think is fair to say for a lot of companies these days, because in the software engineering world, I feel like game devs, basically, there was like a bro culture, and I know this hit Riot pretty hard too, that they're now like eating a lot of bad publicity on because they didn't treat their employees well, they didn't treat them fairly.
Yeah.
But that was more culturally, and then when you hear about like burnout and everything in there, we hit the world of Anthem, where stories came out about people having emotional breakdowns because of the long hours, the bad project management, like just an unsafe workplace. And then now I hear this, it's sad, but it's coming out about Blizzard that, hey man, this is what got us off the ground. Like, I know it's not good, but like, let's be honest.
I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, well, I didn't hear it, so it didn't happen. There are probably bad stories with that, because not everybody can do that. Like, the way I look at it, and I know he's not a like foot soldier for his company. He owns his company. But like, when you look at Vince McMahon for WWE, sleeps like, what, 4 hours a night?
He's a psychopath,
breeds
though.
like exactly. Like, not everyone can work over 40 hours a week, love what they do, put everything in. Yep. There are some people that are like, I need a break. I need to either take a week vacation. I need to have an outside hobby to kind of keep me sane.
Get some balance in your life.
Basically. Where there are other people that you dive in and this is what you do, and I love doing it. So there's all of that. So I'm not going to say there's no bad stories.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think of, and this is my thought of it, is, are we at a time, and I feel like maybe we've always been at a time with gaming, that we, the consumer, might be a little bit of the problem here. Because when we get to E3, when we get to this conference, that conference, we're always expecting, like, the hype train to be going. Give us this trailer. Give us this. Give us that. Get our hype going. And that leads on to the managers who are like, we need to get this done so we can have this to get that hype going, because we got a marketing schedule that we need to kind of fit along with to promote this game if we're going to release it there. There's also the side that where managers and companies also fall into, where we can get it done in this time crunch if we do, or in this time period if we crunch and do this. Where instead, if they could say, hey, let's open up that period a little bit, so we don't have to crunch. But hey, I mean, that's not going to have a profit because now it's 2 years instead of a year. Right. Just get it done. So, I mean,
deadlines have grave financial, what do I want to say here? Ripple effects. Like, you can't just be like, well, I mean, this is our deadline. We have to make it. You're going to work 80 hours that week. That's what it's going to take. I mean, would I like to think that at some point that's going to balance out to like, well, you worked, basically 2 weeks there to have a week off, like balance out your life and shit. But a lot of the time is they're promising things, and if they're a public company, they have to hit their quotas, because they don't, then they report publicly, and then it's like, well, you guys aren't making any money because you guys can't get, this game rolled out. Yeah. You can't get new patches, any of that shit done. So, like, I think a lot of it comes down to...
Well, and games of service games are even like ones where... Yeah. After you release, it's not the old days of like, well, a game released, that's good.
Time to go start a new one.
Where it's now, if you have a game as a service, all right, we have to have a team to maintenance that to continue having patches. But even for like single games where it's like, hey, there's a bug in this game. All right, don't worry, we fixed it. And then there'll be a new download patch. Yep. Like, you're even changing games that shouldn't need one, but still have one because games are buggy. They're computers. Right. Where unlike the old days, it was like, well, there's just a bug in the game.
That's just a glitch now. Yep. It can be abused. As I'm watching Games Done Quick, which literally is just how to speed run everything, and a lot of them do runs with glitches. Some are glitchless runs intentionally as a bonus for people. But yeah,
like play the game how it's meant to be played, kind of a thing.
But you could play the game the way that they let it be played, and take advantage of those things. Shout out to Summer Games Done Quick, 2019. I think they're at about $700,000 raised for Doctors Without Borders right now.
Nice,
which is awesome for them. Oh, I'm sorry, no, they're at $983,000.
Holy shit!
They are closing on that mil mark, which is amazing.
Nice.
So good for them. Good for Doctors Without Borders. I love when games. I love when they do these runs, because we get the summer, we get the winter ones, and honestly, it's a week of my life that I'm just like, if I'm ever bored, I'm like, oh, let's see what game they're running. And it's just nostalgia trips the whole way through. But yeah, I think it's just back to Blizzard and back to their problems. Am I shocked? No. Am I a little disappointed? Yes. But I'm a little surprised that this is the first that I'm like really hearing about it. And I don't know if it was because I wasn't really looking for it in the past. Maybe now, because we've started doing Too Old to Game, we've kind of been more in tune with what's going on in the community. So I think it's been a benefit, but I don't know. What is your final kind of take on Blizzard, I guess, saying, yeah, it happened, sorry, but like,
I mean,
it's what needs to be done in the business.
I think back to the Blizzard games, and you've got World of Warcraft that as soon as they're done with the new expansion, yeah, they're making new things for that expansion, but then down the line, it's okay, we got to switch gears. And while we're managing this, what's the next expansion going to be? You've got Overwatch, where they are constantly like, and maybe a part of that, I'm thinking like and Overwatch is different because it wasn't 5-10 years ago. Like, that might fall into the newer category, but I just think of that game where it's like you get the updates from Jeff, and Jeff's the guy, and that's the one thing I kind of like, where Jeff's the main face, where it's kind of like, hey, I'm the boss of this game. I'm the one putting myself out there. Like, this is
Hearthstone does the same thing.
And and maybe that's Blizzard changing into this, but like the amount of stuff they do of like coming up with these skins, making them look good, coming up with new characters. And then on top of the characters, hey, we got to give them a backstory. Let's come up with this animation, that animation. It all takes time.
Yep.
And I feel like the good thing though that Blizzard or that Overwatch does that maybe doesn't play into crunch is we're gonna tease a bunch of characters. You don't know when we're gonna release them.
Yeah.
We'll release them whenever the hell we feel like it. Like we thought the one time we're gonna get a character here, and then I was like, oh really? No character?
Yeah.
We didn't get I thought we were going to get, I think it was Sombra. I was like, I thought we were going to get Sombra. And then like a month or two later, oh, here's Sombra. It's like, oh, okay. Now I'm happy. But yeah, it's just these games, like I just think of World of Warcraft, it's a game that never sleeps.
Yep.
So I feel like a game that never sleeps
needs
need
a dev
workers
team
that never sleep.
That never sleeps.
Which is impossible. Like you
just got to hire enough of them.
Yeah.
And that turns into the balance of how many devs can you pay for and still be profitable at a margin rate that you're comfortable with, which is always going to leave.
Because it all comes down to that bottom line.
Yep. It's always going to lead to underpaid workers or overworked workers, one way or the other. Hopefully not both. But yeah, I mean, that's a sad truth of the gaming industry right now. I would never dissuade anyone from going into it, but I would just go in with your eyes open. Unrelated, but like one of those things where as a kid, like I for a while, I don't know if you know this, I thought about like being a chef. I was like, I wonder what it would be like to seriously like, I don't really love what in college, I was still like, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Yeah. I only got into IT because it was like, I'm sort of good at this and I've got an in, so let's just see what I can do. But I was like, yeah, let's see, maybe I could be a cook. Like if I want to do like line cook here and then go to culinary school and like that path. And then I started reading like Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations. Gordon Ramsay has a book out. Like there's just enough chefs with books out that explain like this is, this is not just a job, this is a lifestyle. Yeah. And I think that opened my eyes up a lot to like, holy shit, you are really devoting more than just your 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. You are there, you are living it. These are your brothers, these are your sisters, this is your family. And I wish I don't know if there's something like that for software engineers because it is, in the last 20 years basically has been, just a technology boom and a gaming boom. So I think if there's something like that for them to kind of give them this is like a real story behind the scenes. This is what it's like at a real company. This is what you're going to be treated like. Come in with, the right expectations and kind of instead of like that, I'm going to change the world, make my own game. Because I've seen so many sob stories on YouTube and Patreon about like, hey, I had this great idea. I went for this company. They shot me down. They made me do this shit that I didn't like to do. And now I'm going to go solo, do my own thing. And they're like, I'm going to live out of my parents' basement. I'm going to do this as all my job. I need you guys to help pay for my dream to come true. And I'm like, I don't have the heart, man. I can't believe that you're doing this. This is incredible. But at the same time, like, that shouldn't be like the like shocking wake-up call that they had to go through. They should understand, like, this is how the business works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's two thoughts that I have in my head, which the first one that I will say is right before you went on the tangent of this was with you wanting to become the cook, and you said like it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of think of like us starting this, where like this is kind of turned into for us. Yes, we would like it to be more of that lifestyle. I would assume. Like, we'd like this to be the main thing.
Would I like to spend?
I would love
40 plus hours a week doing this. Yeah, because we already spend about 30 hours a week doing this.
And that's what I'm saying.
But
you know,
it's like, I also have a full time job. You also have a full time job. Sean,
like,
full time job.
For example, with us, just with the fast break alone, like recently, it was the draft, the free agency we're gonna do, the regular pod. Like me and you were in here then that Saturday for a regular podcast after doing the 7 hours of draft content. That we did, to where we're not getting paid. Like the amount we are getting paid for all this time is
it's a passion.
Yeah, and that's it. If you've got the passion for it, and I agree with you with software engineers, I don't know if there's something like that, because usually people that go in the games,
video game developers, and I went to school with a lot of them, and the amount of them who were happy with where they landed, that when they graduated, and then 3 years later, 5 years later, is like, man, they were sold like a dream. It feels like they just had like the carpet pulled out from under them.
Because I feel like everyone feels like, hey, I'm going to go make this game and it's going to be great. And it's like, no, sometimes you're going to start off somewhere and they're going to say, hey, make this game.
Yep.
And it's a mobile game.
You're going to be sitting there animating these 4 pixels for the next 3 months.
Exactly.
And you're going to fucking love it.
It's kind of like and this also gets to the business side of it and how it relates from side to side. I'll tell a story for me. Since you told a story. Recently, I don't think I've mentioned this on a podcast, but I went for a new job recently. Teaching at one school, went to interview to teach at another school, and I walked in, had my interview, thought it went well. Well, they went with a candidate who, let's say I'm 30, I've got a master's degree. They went with someone who is, let's see, fresh out of college, so that would be what, 22?
Yeah.
22, maybe 23, with a bachelor's. Yeah, we were both alumni of the school, so that didn't matter. But it's just the business of that and the politics of that of, you know what, person A's got experience, but they're going to be a little bit more money. Hey, person B might not have that experience, but we're okay with that because they're an alumni and they'll be cheaper. It's just
bottom line is a bottom line,
and it happens for everything. Of like schools, game companies. There's money controls everything, and there's part of it too of like that's why we see the horror stories of like, well, this game's not making enough. All right, shut it down. Put it all, and like it's funny to do like the Rick Sanchez, like shut it down, not doing it, but really that's then people that then lose jobs because the companies go, well, cut it because it's losing us money.
And we've seen the cuts at Blizzard. We talked about how they got rid of a lot of the game community managers, which really sucked and hurt their public image.
You guys aren't happy? Yeah, let's get rid of the people that are used to talking to you.
Exactly.
That are good at talking to you.
So
they actually know what to say.
I don't know where to leave off with this, but basically, Blizzard, you can do better.
And it's nice to hear hey, we're not there yet, but it's better.
There's
like some people will look at that and go, well, why isn't it there?
Right.
But I look at it and go, at least you're heading in that direction.
Yep.
And it's not like we should probably change that. Like,
exactly.
No, you're starting to change it. Let's hope it gets there in the next few years. Like it took 5 to 10 to get to
culture
this
doesn't
point.
change instantly, so give it a couple of years. Nobody's instantly leaving you because it seems to be a practice that's kind of all around the industry. So
you guys all got phones, right?
You guys all got phones,
we
right?
got phones, right?
Please don't repeat that at BlizzCon this year. People will freak out.
I thought you were going to tell me, please don't repeat that, Ricky.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, Blizzard, don't do that again to us. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. You got a whole lot of stuff. You got TeamFight Tactics. You got a little bit of Ricky's Road to the Show talk. And Diamond Dynasty. You got Blizzard.
Your Blizzard talk.
Blizzard needing to change their culture. And you got some life lessons out of all this, I'd like to think.
That's what we are, Dave. Like, we're just real people.
We're just real people
talking about games.
Okay.
Playing games, talking about games, loving games.
There you go.
That's how I see it. Well, I'm on too old to game, so it's all games.
If you guys enjoyed this, go ahead and drop a sub down below, drop a comment. We love hearing from you guys. We love talking to you, and keep that conversation going. If you want to go above and beyond and really support us and support what we're trying to do and build here, check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcasts. At that $1 tier, you get into our Discord. You get to hang out with us pretty much 24/7 because someone's going to be awake at any given time of the day because we worldwide.
Yeah.
So that'll do it. That's Ricky Widmer. I'm Dave Oster. We'll catch you next time.